Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Hit the Ropes Radio. I am the man, Shane. I will be joined shortly by none other than Mr. Wikipedia, Darius Brown. We will be discussing the latest happenings in the world of professional wrestling as we get this much closer to the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania. What they do.
It's another beautiful day. As you said, we're getting closer. The boys will be back in town when it comes to WrestleMania here in Orlando, my new stomping ground. So as we get closer and closer, the anticipation builds and builds, and I'm ready to go, man.
I checked according to our plug, our connect, whatever word one wants to use. Um, this our tickets are supposed to arrive this weekend, so fingers crossed. I know that the North was affected by weather this weekend, so apparently that's delaying stuff, but it should be here by this weekend. So that although I must say that this week in the WWE landscape, it didn't really light any truth, any real fire under my behind for this show.
Nope.
One, maybe two segments really was really like gripping and got me, but other than that, this week was just like, especially SmackDown. SmackDown is usually the show that I love, but this week's SmackDown wasn't really that great. So we'll get into that as well.
All right.
But let's start, since the bulk of the show is going to be more WWE based. Let's start outside of the WWE. The Hardys, Jeff and Matt, Brother Nero, Broken Matt, they continue to be in the news because of their issues with Anthem. What is it? Anthem Entertainment, Anthem Wrestling,
The Owl.
Anthem. Yeah, see whatever those owl people. They continue to be in the news. I mean, even Rebecca Hardy, aka Reby Sky, she even started. I think she like created a T-shirt or something. It's like fuck the owls. I mean, it's kind of for work. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen the shirt?
No, I did not see the shirt.
Well, let's pull it up. We can pull it up real quick. In addition to the shirt is the tweet here. For those who are listening onto the podcast, of course you can go ahead and go to Matt Hardy's Twitter account and you'll see it there at Matt Hardy Brand. But before we get to the shirt, we'll kind of allude to it for a moment. But Matt Hardy tweets that that shirt sold out in less than 24 hours, 500 shirts. And this is the shirt.
Wow.
This is the shirt for those who are listening and not watching us live on YouTube. It's F That Owl, and it has the new octagon. Is that an octagon, Shane? Help me with my sides. You're the teacher here. Looks like an octagon.
Yes.
I didn't count 8 size, but has F the Owl, which of course is Anthem, and yeah, 500. Let me stop sharing my screen, but 500 sold according to to Matt Hardy.
That's crazy. I mean, um, for those 500 individuals, or maybe 250, maybe though they bought two shirts each. I don't know. But for those 500 individuals with those shirts,
Hey, he said he's got 1,000 more coming.
there's and I'm pretty sure there are going to be more orders after that. But like seriously, a couple months from now or a year from now, when somebody's rocking that shirt, people are going to be wondering, like, what the hell do you have against owls?
not a couple years from now. The day you wear that out in public, we were going, what the freak wrong with you? Who hates owls?
I mean, yeah, that is true. I mean, only about 300 or so thousand people are watching TNA every week. So yeah, you're gonna have people looking at you saying this person is really not fond of owls and it's just strange. But hey, kudos to those guys because they keep making that money. And that's the thing. They didn't want to stay in TNA because TNA a contract that they wanted the Hardys to be exclusive, and they wanted money off the top because TNA believes that they are partly responsible for the broken brilliance is brother Nero.
Isn't that crazy? What kind of business logic is that? You either have the trademark and you can use it whenever you want, and Matt Hardy can't use it outside of TNA, or you have signed them to an exclusive contract and he's not working anywhere else other than right there in TNA. Or, excuse me, I guess they were only going by Impact now, but
Impact Wrestling, right?
That is a crazy concept to think that you were able to skim off the top of someone else's earnings. These are independent contractors, right? So how, as an independent contractor, can you take money when they go out and do other jobs? That logic just doesn't make any sense. So they threatened to shut down, or they tried to have ROH, their pay-per-view, shut down because the Hardys made that appearance. Obviously, I don't know. Did they have any success? I don't know the pay-per-view buyers nowadays, DirecTV and whoever else is out there. I don't buy pay-per-views.
Rebby did blast of them. I don't remember which cable provider actually did fold under that whole TNA ROH issue, but I know she called out one of them. I don't know if it was DirecTV. Somebody caved when it came to that, but I'm not sure with the pay-per-view buys in today's landscape, especially with the WWE Network, and then you have all the pay-per-views. If it was really going to be that much of an issue, and our ROH knowledge has waned in the last few years. So for me to say, if this made any difference off the top of my head, I can't give it to you, ladies and gentlemen, because hell, I get ROH where I live and I'd be forgetting. I'll just be flipping through. I'm like, oh, channel 514. Oh crap. What's that in that darkness? Oh, that's ROH. Okay, cool.
Yeah, their product is still horribly produced, but that being ROH. But Dish, I'm looking at Rebby's Twitter, and it's Dish that you were talking about, who were the only ones that backed out. As I also go down her Twitter feed, this is kind of interesting. Hopefully she got with these people, because if not, this is very almost contradicting. But she tweets that you guys are hilarious, F That Owl. And it has by a Space Girl Robin. So I don't know if she's connected with Space Girl Robin, if she had Space Girl Robin create the artwork. It's slightly different than the one that we saw. But my point is, I wonder if she took this concept from Space Girl Owl, or if she, commissioned or asked her to do it or something like that, or then got, favors to take it. But the point being, she made a shirt off of it and is making money. So did Space Girl Owl ask for a little off the top of the FU Owl T-shirt? So I think that's kind of funny, kind of weird, and I don't know what the relationship is, so we'll put that out there. But
Space Girl, whatever, better be careful, because if she gets on the wrong side, there may be another shirt that said "F that Space Girl."
You're right about that. So I don't know if Space Girl is in cahoots with the Hardys, or if she asked for a little off the top. She probably didn't ask for a little cut off the top on them T-shirts, but maybe she should have.
They'll probably send her some signed merch, a Jeff Hardy artwork or something like that. But speaking of Mr. Jeffrey Hardy, he recently did an interview. In that interview, he discussed several things, like this MMA project that he's in called The Favorite. But there's a part that talks about the WWE and and also his time in Impact. He says it's kind of in limbo right now. This is with the Hardys and Anthem Entertainment and all of the lawsuit stuff. He says it's kind of in limbo right now. It's just very heartbreaking. I gave 7 years of my life to Impact Wrestling and TNA, and for them to hold this against us, when they threatened to sue Ring of Honor, what they said was a complete lie, that they developed a broken universe for us, which is so untrue. We did that all on our own. It started when I broke my leg in April of 2015. The positive outcome of the accident is that the broken Matt Hardy was born. Brother Nero was born as well. The stuff we did at our home, Final Deletion, was the highest rated show all year for Impact Wrestling. And it was just 4 guys and a couple sound people. We did it all on our own, and we totally developed the characters all on our own. For them to hold this against us like this is very sad and heartbreaking, but I think in the end we'll come out on top. So the Hardys are saying it's just them. And then when they went to Cameron to do these shows, it was them running the show. Impact Wrestling was probably just like, here you go. You got a ref. You got these sound guys. You got these 2 camera guys, and make it happen. That's what the Hardys are saying. Impact is saying that, not only were the Hardys involved, but Jeremy Borash was involved. This dude in catering was involved. Billy Corgan was involved. Dixie Carter was involved. Dixie's Butler was involved. They're saying like all these people were involved, so you can't take this crap on the road because we're part of it, and these people are still here. I'm here rooting for the Hardys because I'm a fan of the broken universe. I enjoyed the heck out of Final Deletion. I feel it was worthy of being the highest rated show for Impact all year. This broken stuff has done wonders for TNA / Impact Wrestling when they were down for the count. This was the only thing people were talking about. And I think financially, it makes sense that the company would want the Hardys to still be out there, because while the Hardys are out there doing these indie shows and all of this, they're still working for you. So they're just going to be making your name even more popular while they're out there doing these indie shows because they're carrying around your TNA gold. And then as they continue to get more love, you can continue to remind everybody that these guys work for us. I thought financially it's just stupid of them to burn this bridge. What do you think?
Well, this is sports entertainment, right?
Yes.
So I feel
It's
a
not
parallel with
ballet.
it's not ballet. All right, very very true, and I feel a parallel to the movie business, right? Uh, you know, I watched this movie called Fences, stars Denzel Washington, and the person who could throw some snot and some tears like it's nobody's business. What is her name? It's off the top. I can't remember her name. She's an Oscar winner. I think she's got a Tony. Viola Davis. All I can remember when I think of Viola Davis is the snot. She's always crying. There's always snot. All right. So I'm getting sidetracked here. I'm getting sidetracked by the snot. Viola Davis and Denzel Washington. They make a movie. It's called Fences. It was on Broadway. Now they turned it into a movie, right?
Right.
Now Denzel, he does the movie, but in addition to doing the movie, you see him on Fallon. You see him on the red carpet. You see him on Jimmy Kimmel. You see him all over the place, and they ask him lines, and they tell us about the experience. Why? Because it's all promoting the movie. These indie shows, these guys are going out there. They're taking the broken brilliance from state to state, internationally. Also, they can come back and they wow that crowd and they can bring them right back to the impact zone. It just doesn't make sense. It's easy promotion. They don't say, okay, well, Denzel, you went on to Jimmy Kimmel. Man, you got him a lot of ratings. I'm sure that was a lot of ad revenue for Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. Next time you go to any appearance, you're going to have to find a way to get us paid off of that too. We need some of that money back because, Fences was our movie. We created that. It doesn't make sense. You got your brand out there, as you said. You're getting exposed left and right, and it's coming back to you. I remember watching Shane Helms. This is after his release from the WWE, right at the local gym, and he was going out there and burning the building down. I was impressed because I've been to so many indie shows where they have the top talent come from WWE after they've been released, and they phone it in, right? They don't put on a great performance. From that appearance where I saw him live, experienced him live, I became a bigger fan of Shane Helms. I'm sure with these people getting exposed to the Hardy Boys and experiencing the Broken Brilliance in person, that will help them blow up their brand, yes, but it also going to make them a fan to follow them back to TNA because, as you mentioned, 400,000 people are only watching that. That's it. So they need all the eyeballs they can get. So it's really dumb on their part. Everything was really, really silly.
Exactly. And I mean, did you watch last week's episode of Impact Wrestling, which was supposed to be like their grand reset? Did you watch that?
I did not. It seemed I haven't caught them in a while. And from the Twitter recaps, the short clips I've seen on Twitter, it seemed like a complete train wreck. And I have a little bit of an issue with them rehashing the old stuff. So I don't know if you're going to get into that, but a lot of old stuff came back with Jeff Jarrett.
Well, the reason why I brought that up is because as we're sitting here discussing, the Hardys, the financial situation, all of that, on this reset where they want to make Impact great again. That was their tagline.
Mhm.
riding the coattails of our current president, his campaign slogan, which I didn't care for. Um, they want to make Impact great again, which first of all is saying that Impact was great before. Um, it was good. I wouldn't say that it was great because for that to be great, it needs to be at a consistent level for an extended period of time. Um, and they also brought up they were just riding the heck out of the WWE. Like they're dropping the WWE's name. Like you would have swore that WWE had Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday, NXT on Wednesday, and then the WWE presented Impact Wrestling on Thursday. The way they were just talking about WWE so much. But then Zeb Coulter comes out, and or sorry, Dutch Mantel, and that's just a further reminder of WWE. But why am I saying all of this? Because they talked about how Impact used to be great, and they showed still pictures of these guys behind Zeb or Dutch when he mentioned their names. Time when Impact was great. We need to get back to that time. The time when, AJ Styles, um, WWE, uh, he said Bobby Roode, WWE. He said Christian, WWE. Even though he's not on camera anymore, um, he's a WWE legend. Um, Christian. Who else did they say? Booker T, WWE. Kevin Nash. More people are gonna say Kevin Nash is WWE than he is TNA.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Samoa Joe, WWE. That's who they chose to use. So right now they mentioned those names. And why did they choose AJ Styles and Samoa Joe? You know, currently those are two of the biggest names in the WWE right now. So while fans of WWE are watching them, somebody script past and be like, "Oh, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe used to be a TNA. Oh, let me go order some DVDs of them." That's helping TNA's pockets when those fans go and look at those old matches. That's helping TNA's pockets, whether it's DVD sales or YouTube hits or website traffic. That's helping them. So if the Hardys are outside of your company and are able to use this broken universe stuff, it helps your bottom line. And then later on, you could rattle off these names that you just did and include the Hardys as well of a time when Impact used to be great.
Yeah, and this is further proof of an indie mentality to me. You see the DVDs of current WWE stars being released once they make it big from like ROH and Impact Wrestling. They both do that. Anytime they have a star that used to be in their promotion has gone on to much success in WWE. As soon as they really start picking up steam, they release the best stuff. But that just reminds fans that you're a minor league. That reminds that you either A, aren't big enough to keep this talent, so therefore they're getting their training there at Impact Wrestling and ROH, and then they're jumping off to the WWE once their value has risen enough to do so. So you're either a feeder system, or you're just second rate. It's just a horrible premise to base your company around. The whole thing is with Vince McMahon that I agree with is if you're number one, you never mention number two, right? You saw that during the Monday Night Wars. WCW would call out WWE, but WWE would never return the favor until they became number two. Then you saw Triple H and the Tank arriving at their doorstep, and then they try to call them out and things like that. You're just reminding fans that you're not as good as the WWE. So, as they say on the street, Shane, keep your name out. Keep my name out your mouth. That's what WWE is basically telling them. We're gonna ignore you. You keep our name out your mouth, and somebody should tell that to them. I don't know what benefit do you have by comparing yourself to the other guy's product. It doesn't help you. It's not going to pull you up with them by mentioning them.
No, it's not. But I'm pretty sure tomorrow night when you tune in, if you tune in, I'll tune in. But I'm pretty sure tomorrow night we'll be hearing Josh Matthews continue to drop the lines that he worked for the WWE for X amount of years, and he did this at WrestleMania and all this other stuff. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear it as much as it was making me sick last week.
Oh, that was a mess. I
Yeah,
heard about that. That's the takeaway I got was bickering back and forth between Jeremy Borash and at first Josh Matthews made that ludicrous comment about being the greatest ever, greatest commentator ever, and someone I can't remember who said it, Jim Ross or maybe Eric Bischoff on a podcast, but they're like, hey, what are you in this business for if you don't think you're the best? So it softened my approach on it until I heard the over-the-top shenanigans with them going back and forth and how great he was. That one-off tweet was fine. I became okay with it. But the bickering is like, what are you doing? Stop trying to put yourself over. Why is there a storyline for announcers? I hate when there's storylines for announcers.
thank you for saying that. Thank you. Full agreement. It makes zero sense. We're not going to see a match between Jeremy Borash and Josh Richardson. Sorry, Josh Matthews. Nobody
Same
wants
thing.
to. Nobody wants to see a match between Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews. So why are we doing this? Why is there this storyline? I felt so bad for Pope. I felt so bad for Pope because he's just sitting there in the middle, and he's the only one like actually trying to do any work, or at least that's how it came off. So bad, and it's not just because Pope is a near and dear friend to the show. I just felt so bad because everything else around him was so horrible, and he's like this one little shining beacon of light section. It's just horrible. Like, really, Josh Matthews is gonna sit there and say who's Gordon Soley? Like, really, this is and it's like, wow. Um, Last thing on TNA related stuff before we move on, because I'm still linking these guys to TNA, but in that interview, Hardy also mentioned that he would love to introduce the Broken Universe to the WWE eventually, because they are currently on a short-term deal with ROH, so we could possibly see the Hardys after WrestleMania. But I think it would be huge. As far as character driven or just a fresh vibe in the pro wrestling world, yeah, I think eventually, I'm sure I'm going to jump back into the solo dimension, and I'd love to be the world champion again. In my career in WWE, if it works out, the whole Hall of Fame and all that stuff, it started there. I'd like to end it there. So I like the fact that Hardy is being open to saying that he wants to get back to WWE. I like the fact that he's open to say that, he hopes that he's a WWE Hall of Famer. I feel that he's worthy of it. I mean, hell, Beth Phoenix is in there, so why not Jeff Hardy? And he's done more than she did. Um, but I love that. I'm all for the Hardys getting back into WWE. I think we've discussed that but for those who may not have heard, how do you feel about seeing the Hardys possibly returning to the WWE?
Yeah, definitely Hardy's in the WWE would bring some interest. Was that a Matt quote or a Jeff quote?
That was still Jeff. That was part of that was still the
Jeff,
same interview. Yes.
really. I don't know why, but I feel that Jeff is along for the ride. It seems like Matt has always been known as the creative one, making the costumes and coming up with the ideas, and Jeff was seen as the more athletic of the two. But I'm shocked to hear that Jeff wants to be a single star and get a world title, because it seems like he's kind of the script has flipped, and Matt Hardy is now the guy who is in demand. Jeff Hardy was the guy that all the girls screamed about, and he was definitely the star back in their WWE days. But if they were going to say, give me one or the other, I would lean towards Matt and Matt getting a world title run, not Jeff at this point. Although they could put the marketing machine right behind Jeff and put him back to where he was. So I'm not 100% naive on that. But I thought it was a Matt quote. Is my point. I thought you were talking. Matt was saying those things because that sounds like he's driven. He never got the world title run, excluding ECW in the WWE. So I thought he was coming back. He was the one with the passion. So it surprised me, and that's maybe very, very good to hear from Jeff Hardy. So hey, come on now. Tuesday night after Mania, Bray Wyatt's in the ring complaining about no, I think he wins. So he's in there celebrating his victory, and all of a sudden the lights go off. Tell me that whole arena wouldn't erupt when it comes on and we see Matt, Jeff, and a drone over top, and they're all ready to get down. It would be brilliant.
Yeah, yes, brilliant. It would be delightful. Yeah, I feel Jeff wants to be that world champion, because remember when he left the WWE that last time, he was at the height of his WWE career. It was just those darn drug tests, man. He was at the height, tippy top. He was the number, like, seriously. Yes, Cena has been the man for the WWE for how many years now? But when Jeff left, Jeff was like arguably the number one dude in the WWE at that time.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody can tell me nothing.
No, and if he didn't have an artist brain, right? If he was more driven like Cena, Jeff Hardy, even though he has horrible mic skills and he screams every single line, even though that happens, he could have been the best ever if he had the motivation that Cena. It's hard to say ifs and wishes, but he was that over.
Yep. All right. So let's switch gears. Let's now transition strictly to the WWE. We've got again WrestleMania's coming up. April 2nd. It is March 15th. So we are but a few weeks away. We got something that you want to discuss. It's the title of today's episode. It's Push or Push Out. Could you explain to the masses what push or push out is? And we can get right into it.
Jumping right into it, very simple concept. Push or push out. We know after WrestleMania, the budget cuts come in, right? They realize that in a month or two, they're going to have to start shelling out those WrestleMania checks, and they want to save a little money. So we always get those cuts. Now, Shane, in years past, those cuts are a devastating thing, for these wrestlers. They're gone and they're forgotten basically until you get a Ken Dome like push 15 years later, and you can come back as a member of the Spirit Squad. Only to I don't even know if he's still on the roster anymore. I haven't seen him in a minute. So push or push out. Who will get their push after WrestleMania? What's the next big thing in the WWE? And the push out doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It could be a guy like Cody Rhodes, who has been pushed out because he hasn't got that push after WrestleMania. And he's gone on and done great things and traveled the globe. And we have a couple ideas. I'll start it off. Push or push out. There's one guy that I think is going to get pushed out, but he's going to open the door and take that leap along the lines of Cody Rhodes, and that's Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger has come out. He was on Chael Sonnen's podcast. I think we talked about it. He wants out. They haven't done anything with him for a while. He also probably he's a former collegiate
he got
superstar.
out. They granted.
Is he out?
Yes,
was it given?
They granted. Yep.
They granted it. Okay, so I missed that one. So, but that's another example because he's going to be on to possibly MMA. So, with that saying, then I will go with a different route for my my pushed out. I would have to say that we're going to probably see Bo Dallas pushed out. His brother's a champion, but he's been holding those picket signs for a long time, Shane. They kind of tweak his character, but it never really changes enough for people to care. I think Bo Dallas at the WrestleManias, even with I think his dad is Ernar Streicher is still in the WWE, so maybe there's some could be in some awkward moments there, but I think he's on his way out after WrestleMania, which will be a great thing.
Yeah, the Bo Dallas, like the make Bo great again. They went that route too. I'm just not a fan of anybody who's trying to piggyback on that slogan and all that. Like the Believe stuff. I love the Believe stuff in the beginning. I loved when Bo, was with the 3MB and he did that rap. I thought Bo Dallas as a rapper was comical enough that I would be entertained. But they've tried. I'm not sure what the right formula would be for Bo's success, but if he's pushed out, I'm not gonna be sad. I'm not gonna be sad if I don't see Bo on my TV screen every week, because I'm used to not seeing Bo on my TV screen every week. So this would probably be beneficial to Bo so that he can get out there and get some more dough. That's me being a freestyle rapper right now. All right. You're pushed out. I'm gonna go with push, and somebody that I'm gonna mention, because his name has been showing up on the dirt sheets and the rumors section and all of that, saying that now that Finn Balor is returning, Jericho is a babyface, that this individual is not going to be in any main event plans going forward, and that is Sami Zayn. And I would like to give a push to Sami Zayn. I feel that Sami can, continue to get the crowd behind him. He's the main fact that they can lose multiple matches and the crowd still gets behind them. He's talented in the ring, so we're gonna get a good match. I just think that they just haven't given him the right stuff yet, other than the Kevin Owens stuff, and they just keep relying on that. as if that's the only thing we know about Sami Zayn is that he used to be the best friend of Kevin Owens. Give the guy something else. Give switch him over to SmackDown as many had hoped,
Yeah.
and this guy could be right up there, challenging for the WWE Championship. I mean, we've got on SmackDown. You'll have Bray, you'll have Randy, you'll have Baron Corbin, you'll have AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, and Dean Ambrose. There you got your six right there. You know, I'm all for that six, even though we don't really necessarily care for Dean Ambrose character right now, but keep him around just so that when there's an elimination chamber, we got six guys.
Yeah, and he could get a whole new start to his career on SmackDown. They definitely there. He's the underdog, but he's not quite that lovable underdog to me because we've seen him be so great in NXT, and then we see him get demolished and have all these odds to overcome. Just start it over in a way with a soft reboot over to SmackDown. So I'm totally okay with that move. But Shane, I got to give you this push. All right, so I've been looking at the roster here and say who was just on that verge? Who's that guy that if maybe they do just a little bit with him, just maybe he can do something with his entire career and just do something that maybe folks haven't really expected or seen. And this one's a little bit different because it's a money maker. You can't just do this, but I'm gonna do it. It's not gonna happen, but it needs to happen. I think they need to break up and push Xavier Woods. I think Xavier Woods needs to flip on his New Day teammates. He's the architect, if we want to steal a phrase and steal an idea to some degree. And I think there's something inside of Xavier Woods. We know how smart he is. He's got, the masters and all the degrees on the wall. He started up, down, down. That's doing big dollars on the YouTube channel. So he's a smart guy. He's athletic in the ring. I think we can explore once we get past the goofiness, him on the mic. And he hasn't really been highlighted in this trio. All right. So when they usually get in the ring, we see they flip flop and fly, but a lot of times it's Kofi and Big E. Let me see what he can do. Put him on a pedestal for a moment. Give him the push. I want to see something else out of Xavier because New Day, as good as they are, as much merch as they can sell, I think there's some potential there.
Okay. All right. All right. Pushed out. Let me go with a pushed out. I'm gonna go with Jinder Mahal. I know he just came back.
Mm-hmm.
Jinder got a little bigger, if we noticed. He suddenly came to prominence through an anger management skit with with Enzo, and then suddenly Jinder's on our TVs every week, though he was kind of like a bit player in that segment. And now him and Rusev are no longer a a group, a team. He is. Mick Foley had to fire somebody on Monday night. Jinder could have been the dude because Jinder ain't really doing a darn thing. And if they gotta release some people up at the top not down in NXT, but if they got to release some people up at the top on the main brand, I feel that Jinder is somebody who hasn't really done it for us. He had his first run, he left, he came back. He still ain't having, that thing with the crowd. So, bye bye, Jinder.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. He ain't doing nothing for me. So he's just one of those guys. I don't think he's horrible. He's just there's nothing for us to get behind. So maybe he needs to go again and try and develop his character a little bit. I've got another push out for you, Shane. Now, this one would be an emotional push out for this individual because this has clearly been his lifelong dream to be in the WWE. All he's dreamed about. We've seen him with the photos. We've seen the videos. We've seen the YouTube. And we know the passion of Zack Ryder, but he's hit his ceiling, man. He's as high as he can go in the WWE right now. And before he gets too old, he needs to take his character elsewhere, whether it be ROH, whether I think the obvious would be TNA, but I think we would really get to see, is he someone like Cody Rhodes who will flourish on his own and blossom and get to develop his character? Or will he become Aaron Rex? All right, so there's two total different sides of the spectrum. I don't know what to make of Zack Ryder. And I think he's handicapped being in the WWE. I know the paycheck's nice. I know the exposure's nice. But if he wants to be anything other than a glorified jobber, sometimes you gotta bet on yourself, Shane. And he needs to make that walk. Push him out, let him go.
I'm gonna disagree with you, man. I feel that I'm not gonna disagree completely. I feel that he is at the, he's gone as high as he could go in terms of. I don't think we're gonna be seeing Zack Ryder, doing lengthy intercontinental or U.S. championship reigns or anything like that. But I felt that he was a good fit in the tag team division. That's how he started. As one of the edge heads and all of that. That's how he started, and I feel that's his best. Currently, him and Mojo, they were working, and the WWE SmackDown tag division kind of went south once Zack Ryder got hurt. In that after that contendership match. It kind of the tag division went south, and you can say that it's the Zack Ryder effect. I'm gonna disagree. I feel that Zack can still be a good hand in the tag division. But yeah, I don't feel like he's gonna go any further than that. And I don't feel that he's gonna go outside of the WWE like a New Japan or something and tear it up. So that's my feelings there. I asked the chat room, and what Hot Dog said, he would push Rusev and push out the Shining Stars. And this is why I like Hot Dog. This is why I like Hot Dog, because Hot Dog be on that same wavelength. I already said push Sammy John. Where the heck are you? Like, I know you're on a delay in the chat room, but I already said push Sami Zayn. That was my first choice. Anyway, back to my love of Hot Dog. And dude, not the processed meat and not the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse song, but my dude, Hot Dog, in the chat room. He states, push Rusev. I'm all for pushing Rusev. Rusev has shown that he could be a comedy guy. He's shown that he can do both of them well. The man has range. And we put him in this feud with Enzo and Big Cass over the Enzo trying to steal his woman. And ever since that, it's just been for Rusev. I feel that this guy can be so much better. This dude should be a main eventer. He's a big dude who can go in the ring, and he got mic skills. And if his mic skills are not that great, he's also got a hot woman beside him, so that if his mic skills aren't working, everybody's going to be looking at his hot wife any darn way. As for the Shining Stars, yeah, get them the hell out of here. This selling timeshares crap. No, I'm not for it. Especially since my wife got me still paying for a damn timeshare. I ain't for timeshares. Get them the hell out of here.
Come on, man. I put in the chat room. I'm hoping Carlito returns. I think they could be his flunkies and play a good, good role. They're the supporting stars, if you will, to that shining star in Carlito. He's the true shining star. But Rusev is a beast. Hey, that run with him and Cena to jumpstart his career, that's where he needs to be. That is his lane. This comedy stuff is okay, but he's a beast and needs to be treated like one.
Yep, I agree. I'm also agreeing that I would like to see Carlito back, but if we're not gonna push the Shining Stars out, then we need to push that gimmick out. Just like the Los Matadores gimmick had to be shipped, this gimmick needs to be shipped as well. What else you got? Give me one more.
I agree. One more? Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go with the pushed out, But this one, a lot of my push outs are, I think you could do better. I think you can go somewhere else and reinvent yourself and either stay there and shine, or you can bring that talent back to the WWE in the future. And it'll be a great thing for your career. But this one, you just got to go. And that's the Ascension. And that's with a weak tag team division at that. We don't even have enough bodies to hold a tag team championship match week in and week out. But yet I'm still kicking a tag team out. Y'all want to kick out the Shining Star? That's cool. But I'm kicking out the Ascension. They're horrible. They're bad. They're the worst knockoff of the Road Warriors. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But how are they still in the WWE right now, Shane? How? Explain it. Break it down. Let me know.
They just needed bodies for their tag division, and they're big guys, and Vince likes his big guys.
I was just listening to the Jim Ross podcast today, Shane, and they had the same situation take place 10 years ago. They needed guys to come hang out with Shane O'Mac, Pete Gas and crew, the Mean Street Posse. They didn't have no talent. They didn't have no skills. They didn't even have training. They just threw them bodies in, and that's what I feel like somebody did. Who does the Ascension know? Whose high school football team did they play on that they are able to be in the WWE right now? I'm sorry. I'm not digging it. I don't understand it. They got to go.
All right. I got one more. This my one more pushed out. Another guy.
Everybody's getting pushed out.
Everybody's getting pushed out. We got to cut bait, man. Money. It's all about that dollar bill, that bottom line. This guy, a couple years ago, he was in a storyline that he's got this ironclad contract. And a couple months ago, we were all waiting with bated breath for this showdown with Shaquille O'Neal. And months ago, we started seeing these pictures of this slimmed down body. And then 2 days ago, we find out that he's no longer going to fight Shaquille O'Neal. He's going to be trying to become the first two-time Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner. And that person I'm talking about is the Big Show. Now, he's at the end of his career. I feel that the only reason I wanted the Big Show to hang around was to see this spectacle of him versus um, Shaq. You know, we've seen Big Show versus Mayweather. So Big Show, we've seen Big Show do the whole putting on the sumo attire and all of that. So him at WrestleMania, there tends to be some kind of spectacle. I was looking forward to that. Not that this was like a match that, oh my God, I got to see Big Show versus Shaq, but I was looking forward to it just to see, you know, Shaq possibly Shaq in the fool in the wrestling ring. And now it's not happening. So what the hell's the point of the Big Show at this point? So yeah, I'm pushing Big Show out.
Man, how you gonna push the Big Show on out? How you gonna do that to that man?
I mean, I'm gonna need help pushing him out. He's kind of
You're
big.
gonna need a lot of help. He lost some weight, but he ain't lose that much weight. You ain't pushing Big Show nowhere. But come on, man. The Big Show, he knows his contract is up in February, he said. And he's no longer he's not trying to main event. He's not trying to hold a world title. These are all things he's said in several interviews. He's there to get the Young Bucks over, maybe have a spectacle match. But I'll agree to this point. His career, because he came straight, 2 days out of the power plant and into the WWE, it never got to the point where it needed to be. He's looked more of as a joke than a giant, and that's pretty sad. And now he's kind of, I'm putting this in air quotes, but struggling to find his identity already after wrestling. Maybe he wants to do some acting, he says, but I'm sorry, somehow I saw Knucklehead. I don't know if it was the script or if it was the actor. I don't know who to blame. But that might not be in his future. But he said he's good with the Jetsons. He's trying to do some cartoons. I don't think the physical appearance was the problem, Big Show. So you can't cut this man, because if you cut him, he's going to Hollywood, Shane. For that, he's got to stay. He's got to be a lifer. He's got to help people in the back. He's got to get catering. He's got to just stand and look tough. I don't know what he's got to do, but he can't go to Hollywood, so you can't cut that man, Shane. You just can't do it.
I'm looking forward to this Jetsons movie. I got to check it out. I know it came out today. I got to check it out. I'm a big Jetsons fan, or it came out yesterday. I know it came out this week, but I'm a big Jetsons fan. I love that cartoon. I'm gonna check it out. I don't care. What was his other movie? It wasn't Knucklehead. There was another.
He had another one.
Yeah, he had another one.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he had another one. Yes, he did. Mr. Wikipedia. Come on.
No, he didn't.
He had another movie. But I do agree with you.
Vendetta. I saw literally 2 minutes of that movie. With Dean Cain, something about a jail. I forgot he was in it. Nah, sorry, son. We're gonna have to move on from you gotta keep him in this WWE, give him a career, let him be an agent. Maybe he can teach somebody what not to do down in down the road in Orlando. That's all he can do, man. I'm sorry. I like him. I think he's funny when he's, just being himself in interviews and stuff, but don't cut him. I still say don't cut him, Shane.
Okay. All right. Well, unfortunately, you don't want him to be cut, but this show's about to get cut because it's 10 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, and we are not going to take up any more of your Wednesday night. So we are going to sign off and ask that you check us out next week Wednesday and every other Wednesday that we're on this YouTubey thingy. And if you miss us, please check us out on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Podomatic, Castbox, Lisbon, wherever you get your podcast downloads, listens, make sure you get us and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their friend and tell that friend and all of that stuff. My name is Shane. I'm leaving you with F that owl because I don't know how much longer it's going to be relevant. So F that owl. That guy's Darius Brown. Any parting words, sir?
No, sir. It's been a pleasure. This will be up on iTunes, as we said, shortly. Check it out on hittheropesradio.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tell a friend. Peace.
Peace.